Hello and welcome to the fascinating Mobility Factory Features. Today we are going to take you to the heart of innovation, which is SEG Automotive, located in Naganathapura in Bengaluru. Established in 1989 as part of Bosch Limited, this company has been a trailblazer among the first to locally produce starter motors and generators in India. Now operating since 2018 as SEG Automotive India, it has positioned itself as a leading player in the Indian automotive market, specializing in rotating electrical machines. With 9 strategic locations, including 3 manufacturing plants, 2 sales offices, and 4 warehouses, SEG Automotive is in close proximity to its major customer bases across the country. As a true technology leader, SEG Automotive is not just shaping the automotive landscape but contributing to the climate protection. By enhancing fuel economy and reducing CO2 emissions, the company is making significant strides in supporting the industry's goal. Join us as we explore SEG Automotive's tailored solutions for various automotive segments. Anil, thank you so much for having me here.
Thank you, Murali. It's a pleasure having you here too.
Thanks so much. Yeah. So I wanted to know about the trend. See, the copper demand is increasing by about, it will increase by about 3 folds in the next 10 years with about 4.8% CAGR. There are 2 elements that you can see. One is an opportunity, one is a challenge. The challenge will be, the prices will go because of the demand. How will you manage? And the opportunity will be, you can also, tag along with this and then leverage more.
Yeah, that's a very important question, Murali. And one of the, as you rightly said, it's an opportunity, it's a challenge too. And we will see volatilities in the copper market. Where we believe the focus will be in the next years due to the increased electrification and the need of copper is more than the source of copper, which of course is limited in the world. It will be on recycling. Have we done enough on the recycling of copper to bring it back into the mainstream? And the second one, as far as India is concerned, is more on the refinement of copper. So can we augment that capacity of refinement to meet the increasing demands? So this will be the focus. One other opportunity that the industry is looking is to see whether we can replace copper with aluminium. So there are areas where it is already running now. For example, the household appliances, which is a huge consumer of copper. So if we can use an alternate, so then we have enough on the other side for the supply chains, for the automotive segment as we scale up copper.
Okay.
So exciting times, we'll have to see how to manage it, but a lot of focus going on to see how do we ensure that there is enough copper available for growth.
Let me come to SEG Automotive now. How is the company supporting different forms of mobility of today and in the future? How will it support in the future?
Murali, this has been one of the key focus areas for us to be a part of the automotive revolution, because we are a company with a legacy of more than 100 years. And when the first IC engines were produced, our starter motors went into that. So that's the starting point for us. And when you look at our strategy now, we call it as the 3B strategy. The first B is the base strategy, and that's precisely for the IC engines. So we want to be the last man standing to support all our customers who are using the IC engines. So that's our commitment to our customers and to the market. That means our line of innovations, our investments for the conventional business will continue. Typical example, maybe later we'll cover, is we continue to ensure the IC engines are becoming more and more efficient in order to meet the regulations. And we have alternators that can go up to 80% of efficiencies. The starting point of this was in the 50% ranges long back. So we enhance the efficiencies of the product. And when it comes to start-stop, which is the technology which is used to reduce emissions, we have different applications including change of mind. So our commitment remains very strongly for the IC engines as well. While we keep our investments and focus and innovation on the conventional business, we are also supporting in terms of the bridge, which is the hybrid technology. Because whether IC engines is directly going to jump into electrification, yes, in some countries it does, but in some other countries there is also a transition. So we are strongly playing in the second B, which is the bridge.
Okay.
And we are the market leaders, actually, technology leaders in the mild hybrids. And already we are closer to 1 million of these mild hybrids. And Europe is a strong market for that. And we are strongly present in this segment. And also we can offer solutions for the P2 and the P4 configuration, which is also the hybrid versions.
Okay.
Moving into the next B, which is the breakthrough. We are very much clear that this will be the future, and we will be participating very strongly in this as well. And in the case of breakthrough, our strategy is we strongly penetrate the light electromobility, which is for the two-wheelers and the three-wheelers, and then of course onto the high voltage, which is more relevant to the four-wheelers.
Okay.
So the roadmap for us is end-to-end. We care for the past, we care for the present, and we drive towards the future technologies as a company.
Okay. Base, bridge, and breakthrough. Wow, fantastic. Let me ask you about the increasing content per vehicle. That's the objective of any component manufacturer per se. Would you be looking at some adjacent areas where you have not explored so far?
Very much. Now, consistent with our 3B strategy, when I look at the base, we were in the alternators and the starter business, which of course is the core of any IC engine. The content per vehicle, if I look, was in lower single digits of the vehicle. As we migrate to the next one, which is the bridge, the content increases because the technology changes.
Right.
When it comes to the breakthrough, it will be in higher double digits of the value of the vehicle, because we are into the prime mover, which is the motor. We are into the electronics, which is the system, and we also integrate the transmission into this. So the heart of the mobility will be the contribution of SEG into the future, where the content per vehicle significantly improves from the base into the breakthrough.
Yeah, very, very interesting. But when you are in the manufacturing industry, you have to face certain challenges. One is the market volatility, the raw material side, etc. On the other side is also the fluctuations from the schedules of your suppliers. So it's like you are sandwiched between two major challenges, and going forward it's going to be even more because you're adding more content. How will you manage, or how are you planning to manage this situation?
Yeah, this challenge will remain. COVID has taught us how to manage it better, because the worst experience of supply chains happened during the COVID era, which was unprecedented.
And it is continuing.
And it is continuing, but the scale of that magnitude may not come back again, hopefully. But what it has taught us is to have a de-risk. So you cannot be dependent on one part of the world or one supplier or whatever it is. So we need to have a de-risking policy, and the supply chain, we look at that as a critical part. It could be due to geopolitical issues, it could be wars, it could be anything. So we have to be prepared to see that our supply chains have to be stable despite that. So our global strategy is to look how do we care for it at a global level. At a local level also, we will ensure that we are adequately covered for the fluctuations. If I look into the market today, it is quite unpredictable, because you cannot be sure that the demands are going to be consistent. So the need of the hour is to see how we bring in flexibility, but flexibility should be to that extent that we should not get locked with a fixed cost which increases cost. So the business models play a different part here in order to ensure that we're able to care for the fluctuations.
Oh, wow. Yeah, care for the fluctuations, good. Let me ask you a little bit about the aftermarket, which is a huge market. While it could be lucrative or where you have a strong presence, etc., but there are also challenges in the form of counterfeit, etc. So it's a perennial issue. Any particular initiative that you have taken recently to address those issues?
Yeah, so this of course is quite an old issue where the counterfeit comes into the market and tries to push back into the market with low quality products and really not fit for market. So this has been a continuous drive from our end to ensure that we have certain unique holograms inside that cannot be duplicated. But it's a continuous exercise to see how we can ensure that the end customer recognizes the difference between a original and a counterfeit. So this is a continuous drive, Murali. We are on the job there, and we have a few instances where they have also been isolated, but we continue this drive to see that the customer gets the right product and the original one.
Okay. Anil, can you talk a little bit about the exports from India?
Yeah. Export, Murali, as you know, we are pretty strong in the export segment for quite a few years now. Since the last 7 to 8 years, 30 to 35% of our turnover goes to exports. We export to all parts of the world. It is to Europe, it's to Japan, to the ASEAN markets. And our base is well set in terms of catering to these markets. We continue to grow in the export business, but now with the volatility that the electrification is growing, the IC is coming down, so we are also preparing to see how we can still maintain a good share of exports. So while the IC engines come down, we are looking at opportunities that we can scale up, including electrification as we go into the future. But export will remain our key focus areas. So basically, while Atmanirbhar is important, the local for global is also our key focus.
Yeah, true. Local for global is true. Do you see SEG Automotive India becoming a center of excellence or a hub for certain product exports?
We are actually. It's a very good question actually. Now, as we move into the third B, that is the breakthrough, we realized that India is the best market for the two-wheelers and three-wheelers because we are at the right time, at the right place. And it is poised for a tremendous growth. We have 14 to 16 million of the market waiting to be electrified. So within SEG, we decided that India will become the competence center for the light electromobility. Okay. It means that we will be having the right competence, or we have the right competence, and we have the decision-making power to suit the product to the market. Okay. And whatever we do, we just don't care for the Indian market alone, but also for the global market. And our strategy is very clear. So we want to establish a very strong base of light electromobility for India and for the globe through this. Okay. So that's an example of how we are trying to leverage the markets and our strategy together.
Let me ask you about the futuristic technologies. I think Tobias is here to support us.
Thanks for that. Innovation has always been our DNA for the last 100 plus years, and we continue to invest on future technologies. I will just give you the glimpse, and of course Tobias will comment more in detail. As I said, on the conventional products, innovation pipeline continues for higher efficiencies and newer technologies like change of mind for the start-stop to ensure that the ICs will have as much prolonged life, a good life with lesser emissions. And when it comes to electrification, we have moved from product into systems, into solutions. And in fact, India, we have also established a software solution and services, which is out of India for the globe. And that helps us to become a strong system supplier to our customers. With this, we are from a mechanical to a electromechanical company with software and services is our view. I would like Tobias to talk a little more about how we are integrating electronics into our mechanicals to become a very strong, or we are today quite a strong participant in the system supplies to our customers. And Tobias can add a few more lines into that, how we are getting up ourselves to be a strong system supplier.
Thank you for joining, Tobias.
Yeah, basically, the story of system integration started 10 years ago with the boost recuperation machine, which is the main drive for mild hybrids. So it's a part of the bridge. And there we integrated a claw pole machine with an inverter and a software to make an integrated system. We call it the 2-in-1. And today we have our own version of that. So when we started together with partners, but now when you go to Europe and you buy a car, then the probability is very high that when it's a mild hybrid that you have a boost recuperation machine from SEG in it. where we have the software with maturity level of ASPICE level 2 and safety up to ASIL D. And with that knowledge in this particular product, we started also sharing that knowledge towards the high voltage inverters for 400 volt and 800 volt, and also into the 48 volt topics what we have in light electric mobility here. And so there's a very vivid exchange between the regions. So we have very often international meetings where we work together with colleagues from Hungary, from Brazil, from Spain, from China, from Europe, Germany, and India, and working on projects together. And there's really a great benefit from us, and I would say the main strength that there's a lot of know-how transfer from these many different various products into new solutions.
So actually one of the products that is also here, we have now looked at a standalone controller that can be a part of the system solution. And also the second one, which is also quite an interesting one, is we integrate the electronics into the motor in the same packaging. So this helps in order to optimize the packaging.
Yeah.
And also the power density of the motor is pretty good, and it is all interlinked here, so it's a compact one. In fact, we can put the transmission also into this, making it a very good solution for the two-wheelers and also the three-wheelers as a power pack. And that's something that Tobias and the team, along with the global team of ours, is very much on the job to see that we are the best in the market for the integrated motor controller also.
Tobias, you have anything more to add?
The main advantages of this integrated system is that you get everything out of one hand. So the motor and the inverter are not just two components that were somehow matched together, but it was developed as a system in a harmony. And the controller is the last state of the art in terms of safety and cybersecurity. And it's very lightweight. You have a lot of power on a very small space. So the power density is really amazing.
See, basically what we are doing is the buses of this, the interface buses are common. The CAN bus is common. So we have the battery with a battery BMS system, and then this communicates on the CAN bus to our controllers. What is also next in the pipeline is we can integrate the VCU and the motor control unit into one. We call it as a DCU, the drive control unit.
Okay.
So we need to reduce the complexity, as you rightly said, because to increase complexity becomes even more difficult. So can we integrate it to have a common architecture that is seamlessly able to communicate and execute is what is the direction. So from the motor side and the VCU side, we are looking at integration, and the marriage with the BMS is crucial. So that's the situation today in terms of most of the vehicles, and we are fully geared up from the point of view of the electronics inside, and also Tobias can also speak about the functional safety to which we look, and the cyber security, because these are two aspects which are so crucial for the electronics that is going to come in, because there will be a lot of protections that we'll have to give in order to avoid unintended use of those software. So that is something that is catching up very fast. And the last point of what I would like to mention here is, how are we at SEG getting up for it? We have a very strong global team. We have the headquarters out of Germany, and then we have a strong team sitting in China, and our own solutions team here in India are well connected in order to see how we work as an agile team, taking care of a global requirement and being quick to market. Because the key point today in our market
Addressing the market
is addressing the time to market. The development times of the earlier IC engines was in years. We talk about months. And that's the big change I see, that we are well geared up now as an agile team.
Fantastic. Yeah. See, there are a lot of electronics coming into the electric motors, like Anil said. New technologies are coming in. But at the same time, in the vehicle architecture per se, there are a lot of changes coming in. Instead of multiple ECUs, OEMs are looking at having high performance computers, maybe 1 or 2 or even 3. And these will be in zones. So they have to communicate. So the electronics that you have and the software that you have has to communicate to the HPC, because this HPC will be sending to the cloud. So there are issues, especially on cybersecurity. How are you addressing that?
So you're right, today we have 120, 130 ECUs in one vehicle, and they all have to work together. So when we take our boost recuperation machine as example, we have 3.4 million lines of software code running on only that. And if you scale it up to all the ECUs, it's a tremendous work of software. And how do you make sure that they don't contradict each other? And if you integrate them into less ECUs, then you will have less electronics, but the functions will remain the same. So the software functions and features will remain the same, and maybe even the complexity will increase, because one ECU is now responsible for steering and the brake and the power, everything combined. So it's very important that you have a clear system engineering and the architecture where you distribute the features and the functions and you deploy the responsibilities. And also it is very important that you take care that you cannot manipulate those systems. But because the more power and complexity we put into electronics, the more options is there to misuse it or to tune vehicles to make them faster by deactivating temperature protection, for example, which will end in a risk for the driver, which we don't want to have. And also in the connected world, there are many risks for the passenger and the driver itself, but we have to take care by protecting those communication protocols with encryption, and also protecting the data that is stored inside of the ECUs with components like hardware security modules that can only be accessed by passwords. So there are many technologies in it, and with our integrated controller we are already there. So we have a latest state-of-the-art software module and a hardware security module, because we see it's not mandatory yet in India, but in some parts of Europe and China and the US, but we see that it's an important next step in the industry.
Okay, thank you.
Product life cycles are getting faster and faster and shorter, and changes are happening in a very fast pace. So in SEG we have invested a lot in simulation and design models before we even go into metal and the products. And we are now here at the birthplace of more than 300,000 motors that are now in the field in India. And this is the test lab where we also have the sample shop, where all those products from 250 watt to 250 kilowatt, basically we are building, testing, and we can release them from end to end. It means durability, reliability, performance test, everything, vibration, robustness, what you can think of, what is necessary to release a robust product for this field, we can do here, and this is what we are doing.
Okay, interesting. Would you also look at several options to cater to different kinds of customers?
Definitely. Not every customer has a temperature shock chamber or a vibration test bench or a bench where a complete vehicle can be tested under cold conditions. So we are already offering those services to our customers, but also we are open for business models like that we test their designs, or we even build their designs in our manufacturing lines, or we offer our know-how to support them. So everything what helps the electrification in India is possible with us.
That means you will manufacture according to their design?
Exactly, that's what we are doing, and also we help to improve the design so that it can be manufactured in high volume and high scale.
We are strongly working on embedded software development, BSW, that's called base software development. We are responsible completely the V model you can see here, where this is one of the development cycle, from the system engineering to the software development to the architecture, completely to the right side verification. So we will be using a lot of technology, and which is of course along with our global headquarters collaboration. One of the things which I want to show is the software in loop lab. So whatever we write the code here, we will be validating here in the static level. This is called software in loop. Once we qualify the software, everything here in the software in loop, we will be taking to the functional testing. This is our Hill lab, hardware in loop. You can see a lot of software running here. This is the hardware, software and hardware integrated, interconnected, basically to simulate the vehicle conditions and drive conditions, and trying to validate the complete software before putting into the lab. So this is the hardware in loop. We will be covering close to 1,000 test cases per project. So this is the team is doing here. So this completely qualifies our software development process in the journey of the electrification from end to end. So we are strongly working for the global project with our headquarters, and also supporting all the Indian electrification projects.
Okay.
So this is our competency and the facility available here. We are also looking forward to offer this kind of technology and services to the third-party customers so that we'll be part of the electrification journey in India.
In addition to quality, we focus also very much on safety. So the safety, the quality, and ensuring that the deliveries are absolutely complied with is our key objective. Our enabler for this is digitalization. And with digitalization, we just don't do it for the namesake of Industry 4.0. We do it in the true spirit of how do we link products to processes, how do we improve processes and keep a loop of the machine learning in order to optimize it. So
the entire cycle is covered.
So we cover everything through the form of digitalization. So basically it is paperless and the processes are under control and the processes are continuously under improvement. Okay. So this has been our endeavor, and as we have seen in the shop floor, we have a lot of initiatives that link us to this step.
Ah, fantastic.